Yeah, well, you have a ton of different media sources just reporting this in the last hour. A lot of people probably weren't expecting to hear this at all, but apparently, federal prosecutors are said to be investigating lobbyist Tony Podesta, Democratic lobbyist. He's the brother of John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's former campaign chairman. He's the former Obama aide, Bill Clinton aide. His brother, Tony Podesta, led the Podesta group. They broke numerous foreign lobbying laws. They've been referred by special counsel Robert Mueller's office for this investigation to be investigated by federal prosecutors, just being reported in the last hour. I know I talked about another development about a week ago, almost exactly 1 week ago. They said that Tony Podesta was being offered immunity to testify against Paul Manafort. So this sounds like it kind of conflicts with that news, although they're not specifying that he's been charged with any crime at this point, but they are saying that Podesta, reports are that he's being formally investigated. This is shared multiple mainstream sources now talking about this. I've linked a few articles in the description. You can look elsewhere, though. Even CNN, of all places, had to. They were one of the first to break this story, actually, and you even have the Washington Post, who it seemed begrudgingly did end up reporting on this in about the last 25 minutes. Podesta works for the Washington Post. They did also mention that Mueller is referring the foreign lobbying case to New York prosecutors. And they mentioned Podesta. It takes about half the article for them to finally bring up the name Podesta, and they neglect to mention that John Podesta writes for their paper. They obviously hadn't been reporting on this case regularly. Just look at what they do have to say about most recent news. Federal prosecutors are investigating former lobbyist Tony Podesta, another representative, Vin Weber, a Republican from Minnesota, as well as former Obama White House counsel Greg Craig. NBC and CNN reported on this. Prosecutors, they say, for the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, opened the investigation following a referral from the Office of Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Sources told NBC previously reported that Mueller had been looking into Podesta and his Democratic-leaning lobbying firm as part of its broader investigation into the finances of former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort. Tony Podesta is the chairman of the Podesta Group. His brother John Podesta was the campaign chairman for Hillary Clinton. The mainstream media is still pushing Podesta's claim. They're going along with John Podesta's claim that he is not currently affiliated with the lobbying firm. There's a lot of evidence that suggests that that is not true. John Podesta is probably lying about that. Actually, we know that he was lying about that. They say that he's not part of the investigation. That could be true, although he should be part of the investigation. Mueller maybe not admitting that John Podesta was also working for the Podesta Group when they were breaking these rules. The mainstream media definitely not mentioning it. They say that the representative for Tony Podesta declined to comment to CNBC at the time. I did talk about, I won't fully recap, John Podesta's work on behalf of the Podesta Group. Again, the mainstream media is saying that he's not affiliated with the lobbying firm, but I talked about how that wasn't true in more detail in some previous videos. You can look for this article. This was posted by Judicial Watch in May. Mueller hypocrisy exposed by Podesta docs release. This is just one example where John Podesta was lobbying on behalf of his brother's firm. It was in 2013 when John Podesta was working with the Obama White House. He was working for the Obama White House. March 2013 email. They are setting up a deal with JetBlue in, I think it was either Mexico or Puerto Rico. And they basically say in the email, this was the email, they say it was a June 27th, 2013 email. Former U.S. ambassador to Germany, the current New Jersey governor, Philip Murray, wrote to John Podesta, Minister Counselor for Economic Affairs at the American Embassy in Berlin, Seth Winnick, and others, saying JetBlue is considering these two locations for a maintenance center, Puerto Rico or Mexico. The governor of Puerto Rico wants this badly. The question is, can we get to or can we get this deal done at the right levels to make that case? Either John or colleague or John's brother Tony or colleague will get to us with more details. So they're saying in this email, just contact Tony or John to get see what the Podesta group can do here. It's the same thing, basically. So it was openly known, all the groups that the Podestas were working with. I mean, it was a ridiculous claim to say that John Podesta, who founded the Podesta group, suddenly was totally distanced and had nothing to do with it and never spoke to his brother about the business. Obviously, that's not true, but we also have documented emails that have since been released fully proving that John Podesta is lying about that. The mainstream media is still covering for him with that aspect of this. So John Podesta, they're saying, not officially under investigation. He probably should be. However, they are looking at Tony Podesta. It's another report that just came out very recently. Again, news just kind of breaking in the last hour. They give a little bit more information in this and a recap on Special Counsel Robert Mueller referring these cases on a group of prominent American lobbyists, including Democrat-connected super lobbyist Tony Podesta, to federal prosecutors in New York as part of an inquiry into whether the operatives worked as unregistered foreign agents. Mueller also referred former Obama White House General Counsel Greg Craig and former Minnesota Republican Representative Vin Weber to the New York office as part of the inquiry. According to CNN, NBC, were among the first to report on this. And former Minnesota Republican say that Mueller has indicted Manafort. They remind us that Mueller has indicted Manafort in 2 federal jurisdictions on a slew of charges related to his work, including foreign work, including tax evasion and acting as an unregistered foreign agent. Podesta Group also failed to disclose their foreign lobbying work. We know that they broke at least the same laws that Manafort broke. There's so many allegations against the Podestas that they should be investigated for, but here's an example of them knowingly breaking the rules in the exact same probe that Mueller is currently investigating. They were saying that Tony Podesta was getting some kind of immunity, a limited immunity deal, I guess. So they are not. They do say there's not any criminal charges officially laid at this time, with this new news that they are being under federal investigation, but possibly that could change. Just read the rest of this report. They say Manafort, a longtime Republican political consultant, worked for a political party connected to Yanukovych from 2005 to 2014, 2 years before he joined the Trump campaign. Podesta's firm, the Podesta Group, and Weber's firm, Mercury Public Affairs, worked on behalf of the European Center for a Modern Ukraine, a think tank linked to Yanukovych as well. Craig's former law firm worked with Manafort in 2012. That's from the Obama White House. He also worked with Manafort in 2012 to produce a report aimed at justifying the imprisonment of a Ukrainian politician who opposed Yanukovych, close ally of Putin. They say that Podesta, Weber, and Craig have not been charged with any crimes or accused of any wrongdoing. It's unclear whether the Mueller referrals indicate that they are going to be investigated for a crime. So it's still open. Again, just a week ago, they were saying there was some limited immunity deal. What does that mean in regards to that news? See if they give more details. It's just being reported in the last hour. I think that's basically all the information that they are giving. They're saying that Mueller referred information about Podesta to the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York shortly before a raid against former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen. Mueller also referred to the Cohen case to SDNY prosecutors. Podesta, the brother of Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta, closed the Podesta Group late last year. They had to shut down as a result of this probe by Mueller. Craig left Skadden Arps in April, shortly after Vander Swan was sentenced to 30 days in jail. Meanwhile, the Mercury Public Affairs has fared somewhat better. The GOP-linked firm has thrived, they say, under the Trump administration. It was interesting just yesterday. The Daily Beast was kind of seems sticking up for Podesta, or saying that it was too bad that the Podesta Group had to shut down, while this other lobbying group that was it's also been wrapped up in the same probe, but they're still operating. but they're more so saying that it's a shame that the Podesta group had to shut down when they should have been shut down years ago for the obvious conflicts of interest. Again, going back to John Podesta too, that they're still covering up for. Tony Podesta is being investigated in some way right now. We'll see how this plays out. I'll follow up as new information comes out. A reminder again, everybody, I'm on patreon.com/realityreader. Thank you, everybody that donates over there. A few dollars even, all adds up. It gives me some extra time to put back on the channel, keep talking about these issues. Patreon.com/realityreader. I have a link to my PayPal, paypal.me/realityreader, also linked in the description, as well as a couple articles on this. There's going to be more information, I'm sure. Just search for Tony Podesta and Mueller. You'll see tons of articles on this. I'm sure it's finally being reported, at least somewhat, in the regular media. I'll follow up here. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. I will check in shortly. Thank you.